everyone. This is Anja, and I'm gonna read today a message that I shared with Father in regards to the energies and what's going on. Just for the starters, I would like to rehearse you all in terms of receiving the visions, or well, there's many mediums and channels, whatever out there. Always rehearse. You're only able to receive what you are aware of, or where your consciousness is. So that's why not everything that a channeler or a medium will see will always be literal, like exactly the way you see it or the way that you perceive it. Sometimes there are, metaphors or just visions that are gonna explain you something. So what always, of course, matters is the feeling that came with it. Not so much always the actual vision. And this is where I see most channelers get kind of like lost, because they'll see something and they'll attach their feelings to it, which will block the true feelings that come from the message. Because when you're speaking to the etherics, you have to be clear. You have to be clear of all the belief systems. Um, the biggest part is the belief systems, because as soon as you have a belief systems, it's like having walls on you. So this means, they're gonna tell you something, but you're gonna receive something else because you are receiving it through um, the blog, so to say. And this is why most messages out there are just kind of like blah 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 blah. That's what I call them. They're okay for the most part, yet just like at least recently, it's the same bullshit. It's like it's been the same for years. And of course, this is what most people have to hear. But at the same time, there's more that you can tap into. But in order to do that, you have to let go of some of your belief systems. Um, there was this sister that I met the other day that channeled through that lots of the light workers are gonna go through hard breaking of the belief systems, because you've heard something in the spiritual community, and they can be very little things that created a belief system in you. And even with your own projection of your own fantasies, um, that's why it's so important to never be attached to any information that you're receiving. Not jump to any conclusions when you get something, not feel like, I'm getting full truth, or I know what's up, things like that. You have no clue what's up. The things that are going on all up there are so far beyond our current comprehension. You're only basically just getting little bits and little parts of it. And that's why most people are just at the moment receiving kind of the same thing. Or many of them also go by the astrology, because of course the position of the planets will dictate the energy that's coming in. But at the same time, you have no clue what God is going to do with this energy. And at the same time, in your own personal transformation, of course the planets are going to affect it. But at the same time, you are reaching levels beyond this, because the purpose of this life on earth is not to know the planets, it's to know yourself. So it's, of course it helps you with the awareness, it helps you with the transformation, but what I'm saying is ultimately you have to know yourself. And when you do, when you are doing your transformation, it doesn't really matter which planet is in which position, because what matters is your own transformation. So if once Mercury is pressing you on something, and then the next day after some time, some other planet is pressing onto something, again it helps with transformation, with awareness. But in regards to your own transformation, you have to become the master of yourself, and that's why you're basically transcending that. And that's why I say, like, most channels out there at the time, at those times, are just the same old bullshit. uh, that's, again, yes, you are receiving truths or parts of truth. But again, until you know the full truth, which is that God is on the planet and has been on the planet lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, it just, have been erased of the memories. That's what's up. And the energy is not just coming in and hitting the earth just in random ways. Before, it was mom in the physical that was pushing all this energy, and now it's the same. It's mom and dad in one body, uh twin flames in one, like whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. They're doing it together. That's why they had to come in the physical. That's why we came in the physical with them, because those things matter. It's not just fucking, energy coming from the sun and just randomly doing stuff on earth. This is not how we transcend the illusion. This is not how we broke out. It is because, you know, mom and dad have transcended the, or like broke down the illusion, whatever you want to call it, and they're still doing it. Someone physically has to be here to do it, and this is mom and dad. And this is, why the at least the 41, 44, we have been on planets with them all throughout creation. We have been on earth with them lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. It's just that, most of your memories of this have been erased. The reason for this is simply because they don't want you to remember. That was their fucking plan. They said when we came, they're gonna make it as difficult as they can to not have us wake up completely. And this is what the completely part means. It's, that's the last piece of the puzzle that you're still missing. And of course, the Christ consciousness, those are words that people use that they got so used to them in the spiritual community, like they don't even know anymore at the end what it is. It is many things at the same time, and it is one thing in many at the same time. So yes, Christ consciousness, it is you reaching Christ consciousness. It is the whole collective reaching Christ consciousness. At the same time, it is the second coming of Christ, if you want to call it like that. It's not the second coming. They've been here many, many times. It's just like in terms of, let's say, the grandness that the people perceive, it's gonna be a lot greater. But just like people are so attached to the Jesus lifetime, they're like, oh, like you have people that are against Jesus, you have people that are like completely, oh, Jesus, Jesus. It's a lot more than that, and that's one thing that has been speaking of, as well. You have to let go of the attachment to the Jesus lifetime. Jesus lifetime, of course, was one of the biggest ones, but it's still just one of them. They just made it as big because of, well, religion and all of that bullshit. But anyhow, it is just one of the lifetimes that they have had. And they've been, or we've been together. We've been working on this plan for so long, for so fucking long. And now it's just time for you to remember this. We've always been here together. We have always done it this way, let's say. So, that's maybe the starter. I'm gonna read you, as I said, the message. What the fuck is this with the camera? Uh, Yet again, I know for many of you, if you look deep into your soul, you will remember. You know Gaia Sophia, the Queen of Lemuria. You've known her. You've known Sekhmet, for example. You've known Mary Magdalene and Jesus. You have walked with those beings and many more, which are just incarnations of mom and dad. We have been working on this plan for a very long time, and this is our final lifetime. This is why we came back from the future, and this is why we are here again. So the Christ consciousness that, anyhow, in regards to the visions and messages that many people are receiving, I've seen, you can use words as big as you like this strand DNA activation and that kind of light coming in and this and that, use very big words. And of course, that's, it's cool. It's cool. It's okay to read that. It again, it's the same shit. This has been going on since ever. All of the, the cabal are going down, the illusion is dissolving, all of that. It is happening all the time. This is what mom and dad are doing, and this is why the energy is not doing this by itself. It is not just, energy from the central sun coming in and doing all this stuff. It is not just energy randomly coming in and just randomly triggering something in you and just randomly destroying the matrix, because this is what love does. That's why we incarnated. That's why mom and dad had to come lifetime after lifetime in order to break out of the illusion or rewrite the matrix, or whatever you want to call it. Bring everyone back to the Garden of Eden, bring everything back into love, into truth, into oneness. They are doing it physically. They're moving the energy. That's why we have to be in a physical incarnation doing the transformation. Because otherwise, God would just do like this and boom, we will be in new earth. It's not how it works. We are all in a physical incarnation. And there are so many more things that are happening because, they are here. And your transformation is going to be so much better once you remember that and once you come home. Because, you're only receiving the trickle down, we say, the effects of the energy that they are pushing, of all the things that they are doing etherically but in physical bodies. That's how energy is moved. That's what we do. We are masters of energy, and mom and dad are the all of all. They're giving me some funny things today. So there are many levels, I call them usually, of yourself that we all have to discover. And the only way for you, for everyone, to fully see ourselves is through the eyes of God. And this means looking from the eyes of God, or like you having the eyes of God and observing everyone and everything as God, meaning as love, as well as, that's the inward reflection, as well as the outward reflection, if you want to call it that way, having the mirror of God here physically. That's the only way the illusion can be broken through. That's the only way that all of your darkness, all of your, the bullshit that you have to balance out, or that you have to transform, or, get over with, whatever you call it, that's the only way. Because God is the perfect mirror. Now, mom is gonna mirror some things to you, and dad is gonna mirror other things to you. Because this Lucifer experiment, as people like to call it, or, well, galactics usually call it as well, it is so much more that all of us comprehend. It is the greatest plan in creation. It is the original plan that mom and dad made in order to bring all of the darkness back into the light. And we are doing this right now in those moments on earth. It's like the last piece of the puzzle. So you have to see everything in such a much grander way, because earth is a school. It is also a prison. It was, or it still is. It's a matrix until you get yourself out of it. It is a test, let's say. It was a trap for the dark ones. It is so many things in one. So, don't be so, let's say, strict and say it's just, this happened and that happened and now this is it and this is that. It is so much grander, guys. It's so much more connected. It is beyond what most of us can even comprehend in those moments. Because like, yeah, our father is the master of darkness, and our mom is the master of light. Well, they're both things, you see. So if you fear God or Lucifer, it's the same thing, because it's your mom and dad. It's so simple. And once you're able to see them this way, well, it's gonna start clicking. And it's gonna be like, aha, no, I get it. But most of you are just like into resistance. Oh no, this is this and this is that, and he's in that energy and he's in that energy. You don't fucking know shit. Like, seriously. Just get over yourself, and we're all one. The plan is working out perfectly thanks to the efforts that they're making, of course. So just, how does that say it? Drop, rock and roll, drop and roll. I'm gonna make it that way. Um, so anyhow, that's for the starters. It's gonna be a little bit dark in here because I have to turn the camera, the other one at least. Um, so, one moment. We're gonna do what we can so you can see me a little bit better. Just for a moment so that I read the message, because I don't remember. So just shortly, I'll explain to you what I saw recently. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, there is this huge portal that has in the house where he is. It is the tube of lights, basically. If you see the videos, you're gonna see it in basically each one of them. And that did mention in one of his videos that it basically represents the CERN machine. Now, if you don't know, when mom was here in the physical, she destroyed the CERN machine. That's the story of how the squirrel ate the cables. So it was a squirrel sent by mom, I'll say. And of course, dad is always doing Hey guys, so I don't know where I was left off, so starting from here, another big thing that dad is working on, that I was specifically showed in a vision, which means that when they came to show me, they were like, you have to write this, you have to you have to share this, of course, with dad first. um so they showed me. Now, do not take my visions too literally. Okay, sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. It truly doesn't really matter as much from our side. I'm just like sharing the energy of it, basically. So I was shown this crystal. I will call it in middle of hell. It's not really hell as you might imagine it. Let's say in the middle of illusion. And that is gonna smash it. It is what I was shown, like the last part that is still holding the tentacles of illusion connected. And I was shown it is basically gonna explode from the inside out. So it's not gonna be like he's gonna smash it with his hammer from outside. Like, I don't know what he's gonna do, but anyhow, I was shown it was gonna not it wasn't really an implosion, maybe, I don't know. Anyhow, explode from the inside out, and this is gonna release basically father's energy as well, because the dark ones have trapped our energy as well as mom and dad's energy. And this is why mom, um, Most of you probably don't know her journey, but in this lifetime, she had to get everything back because it was all stolen from her. It is, basically the same thing with father. And then after this, I was shown some very amazing crystals, and I have to say amazing because I have not felt them in such a long time. It was such a nice remembrance, tapping into their energy. Again, I don't know what any of those crystals exactly are. I have basically no clue about that. Um, but they feel as if they're from the beginning of Earth's creation, basically, like from the creation of Earth itself, even older because, of course, the plans for it started before that. But they're like the original crystals, or like they hold the codes, so that's what they do for this beautiful creation. And as part of this, of the codes that they have, are the codes of remembering. I know that many light workers are speaking of, remembering, and they mostly reach the levels of remembering our soul origins, which many times are kind of like confusing the way they share it. I'm sorry. I'm laughing a bit, um, because it's part of one of the belief systems that lightworkers have. You're not Palladian, you're not Arcturian, you're not this or that. Of course, yes, you are all of those things, and you have certain energies that you brought here. But originally, if you want to go to the very beginning of everything, we come from source, which are mom and dad, that they are who created us. So that's why I'm laughing. Um, and those are the codes that those crystals hold, like from the very beginning of humanity on earth. Like, why did we come? When did we come? And it's not about answering those questions directly. It's more about, you receiving those codes and activating in you the awareness in whichever way that is for you. Because, of course, you're not going to remember everything just yet. Um, but it is the feeling of it, like when the earth was created and what was the purpose of it, and when you came and why you came, because there's many tribes that came at different moments, and even before that, before at the very beginning of its creation, you were there in some way as well. And part of this is the innate knowing that we come from mom and dad. And this is probably the biggest block that, and the most important one, that light workers have been faced with, because you've been so lost in the illusion of being, as I said, like Palladian or Arcturian, or being a fairy, or being like whatever you want to be, that you have lost the memory of who you truly are, which is a light of God. That's who we are. And the knowing of mom and dad is always in you. And in this illusion, it has been pushed down so deep that humanity doesn't even remember our parents, the parents of our soul, if you want to call it this way. That's why we are all a family. The whole creation is a family. Every being that you encounter on your path is your family. It doesn't matter if they're from Earth or if they're from somewhere completely else. And this is the knowing that all souls have. Now, humanity has been asleep in this illusion for so long, And so much has been stripped from us, that it's not really easy to remember for some people. And I am praying. Mom always has a great plan, um, that, this is what is gonna spark it. And when I say this, it's not always like palm and everyone's gonna remember. I hope so. I pray so. How it's gonna work, I don't know. Um, but I did feel like with the activation of it, there's this spark in humanity's hearts that is gonna turn on, a spark that has been asleep or not active for so long that people didn't even know anymore that they have lost it. But once it gets active again, you're not even gonna like understand how you could have possibly ever not feel that, because that's how deep it is. And this is something that I have been wondering myself on my journey, why it's so difficult for people to remember and recognize our parents. And of course, the programming that we have been um, put under is very deep. Um, but I know that in your soul, if you go deep enough in your hearts, this is what you should be searching for always. This is the reason of your existence. Um, so it is very big. It's gonna be very big, and I'm very excited about it. Um, if you have also, if you're following the Schumann, uh, just so you know, it is always exact to what mom and dad are doing. It's quite funny to, observe it and know the experience that they are going through here physically. And just recently, there was a huge spike. It was like a line of various colors. Those were 6 hours that dad was like smashing it through. And it was very successful. The Galactic said it was 99% successful, which is awesome. Uh, I'm super happy seeing it because I see how fast it went, like how difficult it was to break through it, and how fast Dad did it. And there were so many things that were released through it. At the end of it, Dad was very exhausted. You have to reheart always. God is having a physical experience. So, yes, they push energy physically, and yes, it is exhausting, just it is for all of us. But, on the scale of what mom and dad are doing, our exhaustion is nothing compared to them. I'm really saying like nothing. You cannot even compare it. And this is what they go through every day for humanity, so that everyone can evolve and come back home. And like seriously, the only thing you truly have to do is support and participate, because this is how all of your activation, all of your evolution is gonna happen like 100 times faster, and you cannot even complete the path without them. It's impossible. It is what you have to do. It's part of the everything. Um, so I pray that this remembrance sparks in you. I know it's difficult for some to recognize mom and dad physically, but if you simply go by this rule, it's gonna change everything. Everything that you see in mom and dad is the reflection of you. It's as simple as that. Whatever thought you have, whatever feeling you have, it is a reflection of you. Either you're dark or you're light. So if ever you are judging them for whatever reason, thinking God is this way, God is that way, God does this, God does that, you have no clue how they do things. No clue. We cannot comprehend what God does. But what you can do is connect with God through the experience, which is also accepting that they are human, just like us, and respecting also their human experience and supporting in this way. Just as you want to support all of your other brothers and sisters who are also on this path. We are all going through transformation and we are all human going through it. And that's why we need each other to do it as a family. But what is a family without parents? It doesn't work that way. You cannot have only children. That's basic nigga logic. Um, so those are some things for now. I just wish you could, I wish you all experience it to see the difference of your own evolution without the connection with mom and dad and with the connection with them. And I'm speaking of the direct connection as them in their physical human incarnation. It will change you completely. It will evolve you like lightning speed. If you allow it, of course, because if you're in resistance, well, you're just putting it on yourself. Um, I truly wish this for all of you because I know how amazing it is. I know how deep it is. I know how huge the love is. And I know how wonderful the teachings are with them. They're the only true teachers. Your mother and your father, they have taught you everything. So show some respect. It's not just us doing it all or just things happening on their own. It is our parents sacrificing themselves basically so that we can all come home. Another thing I forgot to mention is this like the dark crystal that they showed me that is gonna explode, that is smashing through. Um, it is like I'm only sharing like little bits of the energy that I got through it because I wasn't really given any information on it. But in some way it is connected to let's say the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. Now the story of Adam and Eve and the serpent is a complete bullshit. There was never an apple or like any one of them eating an apple, or like they wanna mix Lilith in it, stuff like that. It's a complete made up story. What happened in the garden was something completely else, which not I'm not gonna share it yet. So I'm gonna wait for that to allow that. Um, so it is in some way related to this or what you would call original sin, which is not really like, again, it's all bullshit, but it just represents the root of something in some way. um, and it also felt very similar to the energy of the dark crystal. Now, this is just like to catch you up on the story, basically. Um, when mom was still here physically, there was this huge, I don't know, project, if you will. It's not a project. Um, what she was working on at a certain point is this Lemurian crystal, of which a piece was stolen by the Dark Ones and used for dark technology, basically. It was related to like some dark crystals that they were using and stuff. If you like want to know more about it, watch the movie The Dark Crystal. It shows like what they were doing in a pretty good way, so it will give you the idea. And I'm just throwing this out. I'm like not really sure in, or I don't even know like in which way they are connected. Um, what that is working on, and like this case with what mom was working on, I'm just sharing it because the energy of it is kind of similar, and it might help you like tap into it and give you like an idea of what is going on, or the idea of like how mom and dad do things. It's at least helpful for me. So that's it. And anything else? For anyone that wants to call, please give mom and dad a call. We are on YouTube, on Facebook, on the website joyreigns.org. So, like, contact us in some way, and we will be very glad to speak to you and, to give you all that mom and dad have to give you. It is wonderful. So, wishing you all the best on this journey. It's gonna be fun. The next few weeks, fun for some and a bit less fun for others, but still fun because, well, the darkness has to be transformed one way or another. So let's roll with it and send mom and dad your love and your support. So grateful for everyone who is supporting. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Love you. Bye.